All right, here's our next story. It is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Insulting the Food My Wife Made Despite Not Knowing That She Made It? Oh, no. No. This is a nightmare. I will try to keep it short. My wife and I are 46 and 47. We've been married for 19 years now, and not once in our marriage has she ever cooked. I honestly never minded. She told me that she's terrible in the kitchen, and I like to do it anyway. Yesterday, I had a long day at work and told my wife this. She told me she would order food in so I didn't have to cook. I come home and she sets the table. The food is neatly placed on 2 plates, which should have been my first clue that it was home cooked, and I began to dig in. The food was bland, borderline gross, and nothing to what I had tasted before. My head was already pounding. I was not in the mood for some shitty food. I just looked up from the food and told her, "This sucks. Please don't order from this place again." No! No, 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 oh no, oh no, no. I feel bad. I feel bad for OP right now. She got really quiet and then sad. I asked if everything was okay, and she said yes. She still seemed off the whole dinner. After dinner, I wouldn't stop bothering her, wouldn't stop asking her what was wrong, until she finally snapped and told me that she cooked the food, it wasn't ordered. She said she was sorry and she wouldn't cook for me again, and I could see her tearing up. She went right to bed. I had to leave early the next day, so she was asleep. I asked a buddy of mine for advice, and he said I shouldn't have talked about anybody's food that way. Am I the astronaut, or was it an honest mistake? Edit for clarification, I did not mean this in a derogatory way at all. My wife and I have lived in the same area our entire marriage and very often come across a terrible takeout place. It's a thing we do, saying, "God, this sucks." Usually the response is a laugh, because we have a tally of the horrible places and we find it funny. My fault for not specifying that. Edit, unrelated to the topic, but those of you shitting on my wife for not cooking are out of effing line. So what if she doesn't want to cook a meal? She doesn't like it, I do. So I do it. She's not stupid. She can learn if she wants to, but she does not have the enthusiasm. If she needs to, she will learn. She can do whatever the F she wants because she helps doing other things that I wouldn't like to do. Comment about whatever you want, but going after my wife for not cooking is effing pathetic. Agreed. That's garbage, and if people went after that, they probably aren't here hanging out with us, so, you know. It is an honest mistake. However, I think this reminds me of another story where a dude tried to recreate a cake that was OP's favorite cake, and it took it upon himself to make this thing. And here's where I'm at on here. If you decide to cook or create anything, it's kind of like art, right? If you decide to create something, you are assuming the risk of whether it's good or not, whether it's liked or not. You assume that risk. If I went home tonight and cooked up food and everybody hated it, I assume the risk of it being a bad meal. Now, he would have responded differently had he known, or had he taken the hints that it was she who created the meal and not a takeout place. But his understanding up to that point was that they were ordering takeout. So that was his assumption. Looking back on it, he's like, yes, I should have picked up on this and this and this. It was an honest mistake. I understand it hurt her feelings, but also, and I also understand that it hurt her feelings because this is not something she does often. If it was something she did often, it's the game of numbers, right? You cook enough shitty meals, you're going to learn how to get better at it, but you're also going to develop a tough skin to things not being great and it not being liked by everyone. It just happens. It was an honest mistake here. I think, OP, you've got to find a way to make it up to her because it was an honest mistake. It's still a mistake. It's still something that you inflicted some harm on her for. And although I feel like she assumed the risk involved whenever she decided to cook for you, she was trying to do something. She was trying to do something out of the kindness of her heart for you. And she did it for you. So you do have a little bit of makeup to do here. And I hope that you do something to try to make it up to her. So I don't feel like it came from a bad place, but I guess if we're talking about things should have gone differently, then it probably does put you on the scale here. So where would we put OP here? It could have been done differently. And I think OP agrees that he should have done it differently. Okay, OP probably agrees that he definitely shouldn't have said what he said. He probably put himself on ASCON 2 here, but yeah, I'm going to stick with the bare minimum here and just say 4 because although he probably should have done it differently, he's reflecting back on this now and it could have done it differently. the understanding was that it was takeout, so she didn't tell him. She didn't give him a heads up that she made this. He looks back at it now and sees the plates and thinks, I probably should have known. But it was an honest mistake. I do think you have a little bit of making up for it to do, though. And maybe, I was going to say maybe you cook her a meal, but that sounds like stuff you already do anyway. Maybe you take her out for a real nice dinner, huh? Do something to try to make it up to her and make sure that she understands that it was an honest mistake and that you didn't know. So that's where it's at.